are the Wedding Plugs, the first wedding planning financial company to help couples plan for their dream wedding on a budget while building their financial literacy.
Our premarital courses assist our couples with doing everything from securing the perfect wedding venue to closing on their first home.
Couples who complete our classes are 85% less likely to divorce due to money problems. Start planning smarter for forever
today!
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Bridal Tea Party. As you all know, it is a special edition. And that special edition is with our licensed real estate agent. So we are so happy. We're so excited that these young ladies have decided to take some of their time. I know they're probably taking time off today, using some of their time off today to come and speak to you all about the home buying process. So by the end of this session, we really hope that you take as much as you need from this session and more, maybe to share with others. So just to get started, my name is Latrice Williams. I am a co-owner of the Wedding Plugs, LLC. And with me, I also have Jessica Hudson.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Jessica Hudson is also co-owner of the Wedding Plugs LLC. And as part of the Wedding Plugs LLC, for any of you who may not know, we do provide premarital education, more so from a financial standpoint, to assist our couples with planning for their weddings. And in addition to planning for their weddings, really just planning for life holistically as this new union. From a more of a financial side of things. So we want our couples to, gain financial success. We want them to attain generational wealth. And so we provide educational courses, online courses that will assist our couples with making the right decision leading up to their wedding day that will only benefit the days after their wedding. So that's a little bit about the Wedding Plugs. Now I'll go ahead and pass it off to Jessica, who will introduce our guests of honor.
Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing today? Hope everybody is awesome on this Sunday afternoon. So today we have, we'll start off with Gina. Gina is our licensed real estate in Georgia and Florida. We also have Tiffany on, and she is licensed in Florida. And then we have Miss Blondine, or BB, and she is licensed in Georgia. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining the panel. Thank you all. We are very excited for this episode because we are excited to let everybody know all the goodies, spill the tea on buying homes and buying land and all of the good stuff that comes with buying real estate. So let us start with our icebreaker. And I'm sorry if I look down, I'm just getting the screen ready. So we're gonna go ahead and I am going to share my screen. Can everybody see? We're going to start off with this icebreaker. We're going to guess the price, okay? So we have 2 homes and we have 2 wedding dresses. And we want to just get everybody ready and start thinking and see what if they know. We're going to play a little bit of the Price is Right, okay? We're going to see if people can guess the correct prices for these homes and these wedding dresses. So this first house that we have here is in Miami, Florida. It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's about 1,300 square feet. And I want you all to guess the price. I'm going to go ahead and start the poll. And you can go ahead and guess the price of this Miami home. From the 3 choices that are there. So is it $215,000, $335,000, or is it more so $401,000 based on what you can see? Just gonna give everybody a couple of seconds.
It won't let us submit, by the way, just so you know, it won't let us submit until we answer all the questions, okay?
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go to the next one. So this next home is in Atlanta, Georgia. Looks very nice. It's very cute. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's about almost 1,900 square feet. This one is a new construction. So I want you to go ahead and guess the price. You have $280,000 as the option, $305,000, or do you think it's closer to $314,000? Okay. Right. We're gonna go down to our first wedding dress, which is this beautiful strapless wedding dress. I am not gonna say who the designer is on either one of the dresses, but this one is very pretty. Very, very nice wedding dress. So how much do you all think this wedding dress is? Do you think it's about $5,000? Does it look to be about $8,000, which is kind of pricey? Or what about $10,000? Very, very, very nice dress. Right? We're gonna move on to the next one. This is the last dress. So this dress is a strappy dress. It has nice little spaghetti straps on it. I love that back. And the beading and lace and all of that looks so pretty. How much do you all think this dress is going for? Is it $2,000? You think it's about $6,000? Or maybe around $11,000? All right, let's see if I can see these answers. Okay, got some answers in here. Give everybody a couple of seconds. Just kind of want to make sure that everybody answered. Okay, looks like everybody answered. So for the first home, which was the Miami home, half of you got it right. It is $335,000. That home was going for $335. So whoever guessed $335,000, congratulations. Yes, that is correct. So that home was actually a condo, and it was the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It was very nice. The flooring, everything in there was gorgeous. The waterfall countertop. Okay, let me tell y'all something. That house was very nice. So congratulations, 50% of you got it right. Correct. Good. All right, the second home was the Atlanta home. Okay, and only 33% got this one right. It was the $280,000. So that one was a little bit less than the Atlanta home. A lot more home, but a little bit more less. So it was around the $280,000 range. Okay, so congratulations to anybody who got that right. Good job. All right, moving down to the strapless wedding dress. So the strapless wedding dress, well, this one was the total opposite of the last question. 67% of you got it right. And it was $10,000. Yes, actually $10,500 to be exact. It was a Panina Tournée dress, And so that's why I didn't want to mention any of the names, because I know a lot of people know Panina and she is not on the cheap side. So, so that was her dress and it was gorgeous. It was very pretty. Okay. And then, wow, most people got this one right. The last dress was $2,000. It was closer to the $2,000. And yeah, 83% of you answered correctly, which is almost all of you. So congratulations, everybody. Thank you for participating in that icebreaker. And let me go ahead and end it. Let's see if I can share the results. Okay, there you go. Sorry, I didn't know I could do that, but yeah, you can see the results there. So 80, again, just to recap, half of you got the first part, the Miami home. 33% got the Atlanta home correct. The wedding dress, the strapless one was $10,000, and the second one was $2,000. So yes, good job, everybody. Awesome. Thank you so much for participating. Okay, let me get this off the screen. Okay, so that just is a little taste of what we're going to get into today with the difference between home buying and wedding dress buying. You know, it's similar in the sense that you definitely want to do your research. You want to look into you know, what is best for you. What are you looking for? What are you looking for in a home? What are you looking for in a dress? You know, is it strappy? Do you want a big house? Do you want a big backyard? Do you want to on your dress, do you want a lot of beading? You know, you want to go ahead and figure out what you want to do, what you want from these things, and then you want to go ahead and make sure that you do your research on your pricing. You know, this price, that Panina dress was $10,000, $8,000 over the other dress, but the other dress was just as beautiful. Is it worth it? You know, it's just like with a home. I mean, the first home was very beautiful, but it was more expensive than the Atlanta home, and the Atlanta home had more space. Is that what you're looking for? Higher end look with more of the price, or do you want more of the comfort of a bigger home? You know, you have to think about these things. And so we just kind of want to jump in today. And I'm going to go ahead and start asking some questions for our lovely realtors. So I'm going to start with, we're going to start with Gina, because Gina is the first person on my screen. We're going to go ahead and start with Gina. And I just want to kind of touch on, just going based on what I was saying about, you know, doing the research and looking back and all of that, you know, trying to figure out what you want from the home. What is the best way for a couple to approach the home buying process? Like, how do they need to get ready financially, and how do they need to get ready mentally to go into the process of buying a home?
Well, I'm happy you are starting off with that question, and thank you for choosing me first. Not like I wanted to start first, but it's okay. But anyhow, I would say, like I would tell all of my buyers, is really, you can't start the process without knowing where you stand. And when I say that, is you need to speak with a lender. Immediately speak with a lender, see what's your buying position is, you know, to see if you might be more than ready than you think you are. But then again, you might be doing a lot of preparation for nothing, because you're probably preparing for the wrong things. You want the lender to tell you exactly what you need to work on, if there's anything that needs to be worked on. Every lender is going to be different. They're going to have their own qualifications, their own, some of it going to be very similar, but there's still going to be other different, you know, stipulations, different requirements that they're going to ask of you. So I would definitely go choose a lender. I like to always recommend to choose a preferred lender that your buyer, your agent, your agent, your realtor basically suggest. Reason why, because we work with them, we trust them, we know, you know, what they have available. And like someone like myself, I have multiple lenders that I work with. So then I match my buyers with different lenders. Everybody have different situation, different scenarios that they're going through that they need. Also different different programs that they may need that one lender may not be able to offer them. So I like to, that's like my first thing first is to speak with the lender, know your buying position, know where you at, know your credit. Yes, you can go in Credit Karma all day long and they'll tell you, oh, your credit score is this, and it may be something totally different. It may just be that, but then you might be paying off on a card or a credit card that you may not need to do right now. You know, it might wake something up, might be dormant, and then you just wake it back up and it's affecting your credit. So I highly recommend that you speak to that lender. Let them tell you, okay, this is where you at, this is where I need you to get to, and this is how we're going to get you there. Outside of that, that's like first thing first. Then once you get a pre-approval letter from that lender, they tell you like, go through the whole process. Then you're ready to speak to me. You and I sit down, and then we're going to sit down and talk about all the expectations. We're going to sit down like what is expected of you, also not just me, you know, what is expected of you and what is expected of me. And then also too, just what your expectations in general, like what to expect in this process, this buying process in general. I don't want to keep going. I want to give the ladies a chance, so I can go on and on and on about it. But again, the buyer consult is very, very important, is to sit down and have that consultation with your buyer and the agent, you know, from the beginning to the end, not just like, hey, talk about the pre-approval letter, but also, you know, going over like, okay, what's the next steps? What, not just saying, hey, what are you looking for? What area you're looking for? What kind of property? What program that you qualify for? What makes more sense for you? But also like, hey, what to expect when you find that house, you know? What are we doing? You know, when we're looking for that property, what your schedule is like, just how we're going to communicate, you know, and also like, hey, when we find that house, what does it look like when we're submitting an offer, all the way to my consultations, and I'm sure all the other ladies, their consultation doesn't take like 30 minutes to an hour. It should take at least 2 hours, because then we start going over properties together. Like then I start getting to know you and what it is that you're looking for. Last thing I'm going to say, it's always great to start the process and end the process together with husband and wife, because you never want the other party to feel like, okay, they're not involved, that they missed something, because trust me, you're going to go back and forth a lot. And I'm all about working smarter, not harder, and keeping everybody in the same loop. So we talk about the littlest things. Everybody's in the same loop when we're talking about the whole process, and we're going through the whole process. So again, from the beginning to the end, consultations, showings, decisions, you know, all the way to the closing table. It's really great that we start that process together and end together.
Totally agree. 1000%. Definitely agree. Especially with working together. I feel like that's important regardless of what decision you're making, you know, just to include your spouse, to make sure that they're not left in the dark on anything, because in the home buying process, there's a lot of steps, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of things that need to be done. And so the more that each of you know, you're able to help each other out, and you're able to make a better decision on this big investment. This is a big investment that you all are putting in on. So it's definitely important to have each other present at all times during this
time. And it may be fine that one like reviewing the contract more than the other, or one like to go look at the properties without the other. But at the same time, even if you have to record them FaceTime, I'm very serious about everybody being in the same loop, because you'll be surprised how information slipped through the cracks because there's no togetherness, you know?
Right. All right. Well, let's see, Tiffany or BB, did you all have anything to add to that?
I mean, Gina was very thorough, like awesome. Only thing that I wanted to just elaborate on, because I know sometimes when everybody's thinking, okay, I want to buy a house and I want to go through a mortgage lender, they think that they have to be ready right then and there. And Gina said, you can even go to a lender and say, hey, am I eligible to buy a house right now? And even if you're not, it's still a good path to go, because he can give you a roadmap as to what needs to be done and what actions need to be taken on your part to get you into the home buying approval phase. So regardless, even if you get a yes or no when you go to the lender, it's still going to be a benefit to you. So.
Right. Agreed. Definitely agree, because they'll be able to, like they said, let you know what it is that you need to do in order for you to prepare to go on to that next step and see where you are initially, so that you can move on. BB, did you have anything to add?
No, the ladies did a great job.
Awesome. They did. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So I kind of wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying, Gina, about going to the lender and talking about the credit and everything. I know that you all are not lenders, but for the credit purposes, what would you all say is like a I kind of wanted to ask about what would you all say is a good way to start building that credit to try to get into that home that they want? Is that making sense? Kind of like what can they do to after they get that lender's pre-approval or the information back from the lender? How can they start to begin to build on their better position themselves for the house that they want? Let me say that.
Well, I can go if any other ladies want to go.
It can be anybody.
Okay. Well, okay, let's back it up a little bit. I will always say there's always ways to make sure that you're getting yourself prepped to purchase a home. If you're like 1099 or self-employed, I would like to say, honestly, prep yourself for 2 years at least. Don't write everything off. You want to show income. If you're planning on using your taxes to show income, with a W-2 employee, right? You have pay stubs. That's how the lenders know how much you're bringing home, correct? They can contact your HR, they can verify, they can do all of that. But when you're 1099 or self-employed, or you have your entrepreneur, right? You don't have that unless you pay yourself. Some people pay themselves through their business, but they still will rely and ask for business taxes. And I know we'll talk about that later on. So what I would basically say, prep yourself for 2 years if you're going to be using your taxes. I repeated that for a reason, because there's other programs like bank statement only programs, and they're slowly coming back again. Some lenders are starting to do it again. So which you have to prep your accounts to show money in your accounts. So those are things that you can do. Don't just go open credit cards and just go to that Saks and you got to have that bag. And don't go start doing things like that. Just go get a car that you don't need, because that's going to affect your DTI, your debt to income ratio. So that's more, we can go into details. I don't know how much time that's a whole nother beast, but that is something we can talk about later on about. But you don't want to just get all this new credit and just have all of this, because it's going to affect if you even get approved for anything, or how much you get approved for. So those are things I would say, like, try to refrain from. Don't go buy that dress. Don't go buy, with that credit card at David Bridal.
Yeah, not that you can't buy it, but
don't do it now. Just wait. Right. Let's wait till after we close, walk away, and then you can just go buying crazy, not even after that. I don't recommend, but I'm just saying those are things I would say you can start prepping for, like, just managing your money, saving money. People get it all the time. How much should I save? How much house you're trying to purchase? So those are things I would basically want to, say before even going to the lender. Once you get to the lender will tell you, like, hey, trust that lender. Listen what that lender say. Hey, these are a few more things I think you should do. Take care of your student loans. Get on a payment plan, payment arrangement. That's like a big thing in student loans right now. Do something like that. Like, the lender will tell you. They'll educate you and tell you what to do as well. And listen to your lender and do what they say. But go ahead, ladies. I can go.
BB, did you have anything to add?
Well, what I wanted to add is she mentioned about going through the process, getting ready for the process. Once you get pre-approved, this is very important. Do not let anyone pull your credit, not even for a phone, not even for furniture, anything that could mess up your whole buying process, your whole buying power. It could really mess you up. You do not want to have anybody pulling your credit. It's vital. It can kill your deal. It can kill your chances of even becoming a homeowner. So that's very important as well.
And just to tag on to that, also, don't think that when you get that pre-approval that you're good to buy to get your mortgage and stop paying your credit card bill because you're like, oh, I already got pre-approved, so I know I'm good. No, 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 no. Because they're gonna run everything again right before you close to make sure you're still eligible and able to buy that house. So make sure you're still paying your credit card bills, your car notes, all of that. Don't just be like, you know what, I'm good. I'm gonna buy now. So I'm just gonna save my money and not spend it on these bills. Don't do it. Bad idea.
Yes, definitely agree. They definitely do pull your credit again because they want to make sure that you are still eligible. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we bought our house 3 years ago, so but I know that they keep the pre-approval. I think it's good for like 60 to 90 days. And so within that time, even still right before you close on your house, they're going to pull your credit again to make sure that, and they may ask for your income again to make sure that you still have the same job, to make sure that you are paying all your bills and everything still looks good before they finalize and make the home yours. So if you are in the process of having a wedding and buying a home, you definitely want to be very careful with your budget. You want to make sure that they're separate. You want to make sure that your wedding budget stays your wedding budget, and that if you have anything that may require credit, that you reconsider, because it may definitely, like BB said, affect your home buying process, and how much you can get approved for, if depending on how much you're pulling out credit for. So buying a home, just make sure that you're very careful with pulling out more credit. Do not, like they said, do not, if you can, avoid it at all costs. Once you get that pre-approval and you start the process. Definitely agree. Definitely agree. That's something that I've heard from my lenders and my realtor. So yes, definitely agree 1,000%.
And also, I just want to, just one last thing. You just brought it up to my, I want to speak on this. So sometimes husband and wife that don't purchase together, maybe husband may be purchasing the home or the wife may be purchasing the home. So I would say if it's in a situation where you're getting married and are purchasing a home at the same time, make that decision upfront, who will be the one doing what, who's going to be purchasing, who's going to be spending. But at the end of the day, still, you have to be very careful, because moving money around, my husband yes, it's your money, your account together, especially if you have an account together, they're going to still be looking at that. They're still looking at all of those expenses. Unless you have separate accounts and you're not providing that account to that lender, then that's different. You still have to be very careful. So strategize like, well, it's not me, I'm purchasing a home, but you guys still share an account together. Your name is still on. They treat husband and wives a little different, especially if it's showing that you guys are husbands and wives, or going to be, or whatever the case may be. So just make that decision, who's going to be doing what, and make sure keep everything separate as much as you can.
And that just gave me another question. So as far as for what you mentioned, Gina, and BB or Tiffany, if you all want to answer, this is perfectly fine. Should both people, is it better for husband and wife to be on the mortgage, or is it better, have you seen it, I guess it depends on them, but is it better for both people to be on the mortgage, or is it better for just one person to do to purchase the house and the other person not? Or is there different situations that it would be best for one person to purchase it versus the other? Tiffany, I see you're off. You can answer.
Yes. So regarding that, I guess it really is situation specific, but overall, if both wife and husband have incomes and they're wanting to buy a house, 2 incomes is better than 1. You're going to have more purchase power. and you'll be able to buy a nicer home if that's what you choose, and be able to combine incomes. That's your savings, like depending on husband and wife situation again. But if you are able to combine your savings, that gives you more down payment, more closing costs to cover. So it's a little bit harder for a single person to buy a house. It's not impossible, you still can, but just if you have husband and wife doing it together or multiple parties doing it together, it just allows for you to have just a stronger position when it comes to buying a house.
I would like to piggyback on that. Again, like Tiffany said, it all depends on the husband and wife. Every situation is going to be different. My biggest niche I'm known for is investing. I'm big about investing. I'm big about, working smarter about a lot of different things and just expanding. Again, it's all going to be on your situation. Some people, some like couples may not be able to do it by themselves. Their income alone cannot support what they're trying to purchase. So yes, sometimes they have to do it together. Some also just can't. One credit may be jacked up than the other, but what that person has the money, so it just all depends on the situation. If you are in a position to be able to purchase, one person can purchase, like have that loan through their name, you can always go back and add the person. You can always add them to the deed, a title. You can always do that, husband and wives. That's an easy something you can do at the closing table, prior, after. Okay. The reason why I'm saying if you're in a position to do it alone, if you're in the mindset of investing and probably purchasing an investment property or another property, your husband or your wife can purchase that one as well. And then you guys, there's, for tax purposes and a lot of great benefits about being husband and wife, why I recommend one person at a time. You buy that one, I buy this one, you buy two, I buy three, or whatever the case, because there are caps after a while that you can write off, certain, I think in Georgia, I think it's about 3, you can have personal, like actual homes. And after that, it really doesn't benefit you as much. In certain taxes, I'm not a CPA, I'm not, but you can always find out about that. I just always recommend, if one person can purchase it alone and you're going to get that amount of home, like you're going to get that $500,000 house, you can get approved by yourself. I would recommend doing it, because you never know when you may want to purchase the other home. You might want to purchase the second home or the vacation home with the other income. You don't want to affect that for whatever reason. Some people like, okay, the lender will see we're married. Yeah, they'll see that, but it's your purchase, it's your property. You might want to do a business purchase with a business partner. So it just all depends on the situation, the scenario.
Right.
And that's a really, to Gina, sorry to interrupt, Jessica, because even with let's say husband and wife purchase their first home together, if they want to go and purchase a second home, keep in mind, you won't be able to use that first time home buyer benefit. At that point, they're going to charge you 20% down to buy that second home. So if you can split it like that, where you have the husband purchases the main home where you guys are going to live in, and then the wife then purchase the second home, then she can get like a 3.5% down home loan, or something where the money actually stretches farther. So that's brilliant what you came up with, Gina. Love it.
Yeah, and it might not necessarily be 20% down. It can be a lot less than that. It's different programs for different situations. But yeah, like there's some first-time home buying programs, and it depends on the lender part too. Be careful on, because they can still sometimes they will recognize, I'm not even going to say sometimes, they will recognize you as having ownership of the home if you're on title, I believe. So it's just ways around that you have to be careful with. But you can take advantage of more opportunity and programs, especially with first-time home buyer, when you do split it up. Just more opportunities. Two is better than one, right? So it's just more opportunities, to be honest. And it all depends on the lender. So verify that with your lender.
Definitely. And then I know that Gina brought up the taxes. So BB, I know that you really like speaking on the tax benefits of buying a home. And so I just kind of wanted you to elaborate a little bit, if you would, on the tax benefits of purchasing a home, whether it's, together, or if it is like we were saying, the spouse buy one and then the other spouse buys another investment property.
Yes. So once you purchase on your home, 1 year later, when it's time for your taxes, you're able to actually claim the points that you had to pay down um, to get like the better interest rate. You can claim that and get the deduction on your taxes for that reason. Another thing that you can actually get deduction for is the private mortgage insurance. If you have conventional and if you have FHA, it's considered the mortgage insurance premium. Those things you get deductions for. You get deductions for the interest rate that you're paying on the home. You're also getting deduction for real estate tax deductions when you pay taxes on the home on the yearly basis. And when Gina was talking about the investment, yes, in Georgia, the first 3 homes that you do own, you get a better tax break. Off of those, you are able to deduct more. Anything after that, they do cap you out. They start to cap you out. But yes, so there are so many benefits to that. If as a couple, if you're married, of course, you're going to get more deduction than if you were, to be single, but you do get a lot of tax break as being a homeowner.
Right. Awesome. And those tax breaks, I just kind of wanted to break it down a little bit more, just in case people are not aware. Those tax breaks help you to pay less taxes. So you don't have to pay as much taxes that year when you're taking advantage of all of these tax breaks and tax deductions. So you're going to be paying less is what BB is speaking on.
More in return. Yep.
Right.
And it's not being like basically you're writing off. Like, these are deductions that are really benefiting you. You're still showing your income. You're still showing all of these, income and what you're making. So why not take advantage of it? These are different things that you can use to like, oh, okay, I can get more money taken off, like where I have to, Uncle Sam, why not use and take advantage of the benefits? So that's why it's very important to have a great CPA who knows their stuff. So always ask your agent, or even lender, because they work very close with CPAs. Who do you recommend? These are great conversations to have prior to purchasing a home as well. So you know which direction you want to go when purchasing a home.
Right. Yeah, the best thing that I heard from a CPA is a certified personal advisor or a tax preparer, is that the tax preparers are there to help you throughout the year to get the tax breaks, not at the end of the year to figure out what can you get. So speaking on them earlier in the year, it would be good for them to help you decide how to work through the year, how to work through the process that you can get the best and biggest tax breaks at the end of that year, or for that year. I'm sorry. So speaking of being a tax advisor and CPA, all of those people are good tools, if you would, resources to be able to use in this home buying process. Do you, BB, maybe, do you have a good tool, like one good tool or a couple of good tools that are good for people who are buying homes, any apps or any, again, people in particular, any professionals that you recommend people use during the home buying process?
I would say HomeSnap. HomeSnap is amazing. What HomeSnap does, you can go to a property, you can go into a neighborhood and see a property and take a picture of the actual property, and it will break down and give you all the information about the property, as well as the neighborhood, as well as the schools in the neighborhood, as well as what's going on in the neighborhood. It'll give you information about the surrounding area and everything. So HomeSnap is a great tool to have. And then I recommend Realtor.com. Realtor.com is really good too. It'll give you information about like the neighborhood of what's going on as far as prices in the neighborhood, different things like that. I don't like Zillow personally. I have my own thing about Zillow. A lot of people like to use Zillow, but Zillow gives a lot of misinformation sometimes. And then the information that they're a data aggregator to get information for them to go into the neighborhoods to buy homes. So that's another beast within itself, to purchase homes for themselves. That's why they bank on people using their platform to get that information so they can go purchase homes themselves. So that's another conversation for another day. But HomeSnap and Realtor.com is the two that I truly recommend.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Go ahead, Gina.
Well, one thing we didn't touch earlier, I think I put it in the chat to the host, and let me know if that's okay. But I'm really big about, I think Latrice, you can testify in this. I'm really big about not using Zillow, Trulia, and all of that. Honestly, let me tell you why. The information in there is honestly information being pulled from our MLS sites. These are sites that as agents, we go in there, even though the information is just as good as the person who put the information in there. But this is information we're putting in. When we're listing properties, it's in our MLS, which is multiple listing services, right? We have here in Florida, I'm in Georgia right now, but in Georgia MLS and FMLS, and I know Florida is different. I know they have like the Matrix, and they have, what's the other one in Palm Beach and Broward? They kind of got together as well. Yeah, what is it? I'm sorry.
Flex MLS.
Flex. I don't use Flex, obviously. I do Matrix
Flex.
here and in Georgia. But anyhow, we put this information in there. So the information is something we put in there. So when there's any updates, right, we go back in because we know as realtors, which we are, we have a certain code of ethics. We know we need to go back and update the system and say, hey, it's pending, hey, it's under contract, and so forth. And guess what? Only realtors, we who has an account, have a membership with the MLS, can go in there and put it in there. When you're dealing with places like Zillow, Trulia, and those companies, honestly, a lot of these people have access to it, just create an account, to be honest. So the information, sometimes they don't go back in there and update the system and say it's pending or it's closed, and there's a lot of fraud goes on in those platforms as well. So you have to be very careful. I always recommend, if it's okay to put out there, I don't know if I can say this.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, well, I'm a Keller Williams agent, and we have an app. I have an app. I have my personal app, and I'm very 100% with BB when she said HomeSnap, right? Because it gives you that option. We have something very similar to that. If I'm not using HomeSnap, I'm using my app, because I can be in an area where I can open my app and say, oh, I wonder what the prices are on this property, what in this neighborhood, what is it selling for? You can search through the app and it'll tell you, and it's from all MLS, anything that has MLS that we can go in there and put in that I'm affiliated with, or our brokerages are affiliated with. You can pull up these properties on your own through the app, and they're accurate information because it's being pulled from the actual MLS, not like something like a Zillow or anything like that. I highly recommend using those tools as well. I highly recommend, honestly, whichever brokerage that the realtor that you're using, what platforms they have directly, because usually it's going to be a lot more accurate than those third-party companies, because they rely on our brokers' information, if that makes sense.
Right. No, that definitely makes sense. That makes sense. I can say that Zillow definitely is not. We used Zillow when we first started looking, because obviously we didn't know. But we started, looking on Zillow first, and we would call up our realtor and be like, "Oh, I seen this house on Zillow," and then they'll be like, "Oh no, it's closed, or it's already bought, or it's already pending a sale, or whatever the case is." And obviously that wasn't updated on Zillow, so I can say that.
It's like you're working hard for nothing. You're like 20
right, yeah.
So that's what I recommend. Just kind of check with your realtor, like, hey, what platforms that you have available that can help me? What other sources that you can recommend that's going to be more accurate? And listen, when they tell you, listen, You're going to be very tempted to go on Zillow. If I always tell my clients, if you just have to, because I know you're just not going to believe that everything I'm telling you is right here. Maybe go to Realtor.com. I would trust them more than a lot of other real estate, formats or apps or anything like that.
Okay. And then Tiffany, did you have any resources that you recommend? Oh, I'm sorry. Tracy, you were saying something?
Good question. So when it comes to on the point of these apps and things of that nature, I know there are a few people online that are homeowners. So what's the best way to get an idea real time of your home's current value? Is that something you can't do using those platforms, or you really have to talk to a lender in your refinancing
Talk to
process?
a realtor.
Oh, yes, definitely. And that's the great thing about these apps and, or different resources that your actual broker, your brokerage, your realtor's brokerage, or their apps or whatever they're referring, you can always get updates, even with your own home. Like, hey, I'm thinking about I'm selling my house. You can use this app like to see like what are homes are selling in this neighborhood. What's my current home value? Of course, rely on your realtor to give you more accurate information. You don't become, I like my clients to always become mini realtors, but still rely on your realtor to give you more accurate information. But it does give you an idea. It gives you an idea also, not just the price, but how fast our homes are moving, how realistic you need to be. Like they sold their house for 400,000 next door. I'm selling mine for 500. What make you think you can sell it for 500? What did you do differently to your house to make you think that because it's my house and it's great and I love it, what's the difference? Now let me come in and help you. Let's break it down. What is the difference between the two? Why do you feel like you need that $500,000? So I think those apps, same platforms, the ones that your realtor recommend would be great, should be great. You can use it, especially like HomeSnap, I believe as well, that you can use to get, you can find comparable homes sold in your neighborhoods.
But to piggyback on that, I would say HomeSnap because it's real time. But of course, reach out to your realtor because our job is to know what homes sold in your community, whether it's off market or on market. And what we do is complete a comparable analysis for you to show you what's going on in your neighborhood and to give you a great idea of where you need to be able to sell your home. So that's what I would add to that.
Awesome. Tiffany, any last thoughts on this?
No, I agree because us realtors, that's what we do. We literally we look at the hot sheets, which is basically our MLS letting us know the new hot properties that came on the market and stuff. And that's not privy to the public at all. So it's good when you can just reach out to your realtor because markets change with every month. So what you saw last week may not be the case for when you're ready to list your home. So it's always good to just talk to your realtor and keep that open relationship with them because all my past clients, I still talk to them and they still, even if they have a silly question like, hey, Tiff, I'm thinking about, upgrading or whatever they're thinking about. And they run it by me first and I give my opinions. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I love real estate. I love sharing my thoughts and guidance on it. So any way that I can help them out and for them to always keep me first in mind whenever they are ready to buy or sell again, that's what I'm here for. So it's like a relationship. So that's what it's all about.
Awesome.
On the point of the market, I actually do have it may be controversial, but let's have some fun. And if anyone has to drop, that's completely fine. But I would like for us to maybe just go over time just a little bit on a couple topics that we didn't get a chance to get to yet. And one question that I have, and I constantly hear this, and I'm sure you guys hear it too. When is the best time to buy? I know someone in one of our other bridal tea parties, she's in between purchasing a home and having a wedding. She said she started her search and she's not finding anything. bids are crazy. So what are your thoughts on people saying, you know, this is not the right time? Is there ever going to be a good time? Is the market going to settle down? Is going to be like how it used to be?
That's
Reasonable?
controversial. You were right when you said that. That's controversial.
Yeah. Oh, well, Tiffany, you could go ahead and start first, and then we could go to Gina and then BB.
Well, in my opinion, nobody can predict the future. You know, a realtor may say, yeah, wait a year and buy. You know, we don't know what the market's going to be like in a year. Nobody can tell you. If someone says they can, they're a fraud. Don't trust them because it's unpredictable. So my answer to that is buy when you are ready, despite the market. Because if you want to start building towards, like, you know, like they said, generational wealth, and you want to buy a home, if you are renting for another year or two, that's a year or two of mortgages you could have paid off. So you just have to go based on what your needs are. And if the market isn't favorable where you're not finding a house right now, then it's fine to put off your home search for a little bit, but it's your decision when you are ready.
I agree, Tiffany. I do. 100%. I get that all the time. How's the market? Or, you know, is it a good time to purchase now? Is it a good time to sell now? Yes. It's always going to be my answer. Always a good time to purchase. It's always a good time to sell. Like Tiffany said, you never know what is going to happen in the future. We can never predict. This is like, I think a little craziness in me, why I'm so passionate. I love what I do. People say all the time, like, how do you do this? Like, how? I don't know. It's just a game of it. It's really, honestly, you just never know. It's a risk every day. Risk of you not even taking the step. Like, you want to live with yourself and like, dang, I didn't do that. Why didn't I do that? You know, who wants to risk that and like something they could have taken advantage of, you know, but at the end of the day, make smart decisions, you know, rely on the information that's given to you to make the right decision. You have to be ready. I can't tell you when you're ready. Your lender can't tell you when you're ready. Your mom and your dad and your sisters, brother, friends, please keep them out of it, but they can't tell you when you're ready as well, okay? The biggest thing I would say right now, speaking of current market, take advantage of it. Right now, a house that you can purchase now, you may not be able to purchase it in a couple months, later on the year, beginning of the year. You know why? Interest rates are still, historically low. What does that mean? People are like, what? When people say that, what does interest rate mean? Let me tell you, what does that mean? When you get your mortgage, you know, majority of what you're paying is interest, right? So you want to get that as low as possible. You want to pay less of that as possible. You want to pay more into your principal. You want to have more money that eventually when you're paying into is more house than interest rate. These lenders are going to make their money first. You got to think about it. You think they're just going to lend you money for nothing? They're going to make their money from it, right? Okay, let's take it back. Higher interest rate is you're not going to get approved as much. Let's use numbers, right? Some people are numbers, they want examples. $200,000 house. Let's just say 200, very low, like $200,000 house. You may be able to get a $200,000 house. Okay, let's say right now, going interest rates on average is right 3.25, right? Ladies, you guys agree with me? 3.25.
Yeah.
You can get it less. You can. It takes you buying down. Some lenders are doing it less. Trust me, there's a reason why you're doing it less. You're using some of your money, you're paying to get it a little lower, or they have other programs. It can be 2.75 or so. But anyhow, lower interest rate, you're able to afford this $200,000 house, right? So let's say it jumps up to 4% or 3.5%. Do you think with your income, your debt to income ratio, your debt, how much money you're bringing in, how much money you're putting out, your debt that you're putting out, right? So your debt to income ratio. And also, hey, that interest rate we just talked about, you have to factor that in, right? Do you think you're still going to be able to be approved for $200,000? No, you might be approved for 150. So take advantage. You can get that $300,000-$400,000 house now, but next, I'm going to wait till the beginning of the year. And now it's at 4.25. Oh, you're approved for 250. What happened to the 400,000? The interest rates went up because they factor that in. It affects interest rates, affect your mortgage, your payment, your monthly payment. So I highly recommend when you're on the purchase side, Definitely. Always now. You never know what's going to be later. And guess what? Even if you purchase now and the interest rates drop, guess what you can always do?
Refinance.
Refinance, right? So go ahead and take advantage of it now. So it's going to always be now for me. Selling is always going to be now for me also. You never know what's going to happen in the market later on. Right now is the seller's market. Take advantage of it, meaning there are more buyers than actual inventory, meaning properties to sell. So guess what? As a seller, you are in a better position to negotiate, to be in control over the transaction and get what you really want if you listen to your realtor. That's it.
BB, did you have anything to add to that?
No, because they've hit on everything when it comes to it being the interest rates being historically low. This market no one have seen, to be honest. No one have seen this market. It's never been done before. You know what I mean? So like Gina said, and even what Tiffany said, the time it depends on when you're ready. But I always also say the time to buy and sell is now, because you have to look at your situation. You have to look at what you've saved and where you are in life. Things may change. You may have had 3 more children. You don't have enough space. Now you need a bigger home. Like, it depends on your situation. It's always good to buy anytime for me. I totally agree with those comments.
Awesome. I definitely agree too. I mean, and that goes for really anything in your life. Nobody can really tell you when you're ready to do anything. It's when you are ready to do it. That's when it's the perfect time for you.
And
So
trust yourself. Trust
definitely
the feeling, whatever it is that's telling you, like, to do it, do it.
right. Agreed. 100% agreed. So we are kind of running low on time. So I just wanted to see, is there anybody out there that has any questions for our members before we maybe wrap it up a little bit? Any questions?
I have a question.
Okay. Hi.
Hey. So I know you kind of touched on it and I really kind of raised over it, but the question is in regards to buying a home under your LLC. So how do you recommend getting yourself ready to do so? As far as like building your business credit, when do you recommend, like, okay, if you establish your LLC at the top of January, what would be the ideal time to try to purchase a home under that LLC or business?
Great question, Ashley. Very good question. If you ladies don't mind, I'll start and you guys can jump on this. Just to clarify, it all depends what kind of loan or financing program you're going to go with. Okay. When you're purchasing, you're going through a pre-approval process, they still process your personal credit. Like they're going to run your social, they're going to run that, right? Dependent on the lender. There's non-traditional loans where they have like commercial loans and different things like that, and they'll probably go through a business loan. It just all depends. That will go back to a question you would honestly have with that lender to know exactly what it is you're trying to do and trying to accomplish. But I want you to know your personal credit is going to be crucial just as much as business credit. What they do with the business credit, they look at the business credit to say, hey, we can trust her to handle or to you're not as risky, I'll say. You have strong credit, you have strong business. And then we can basically loan her this money for what she's saying she needed for business purposes. But they're still going to run your personal credit. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to purchase some at your LLC. Yes, you're going to do that. They're going to still process your personal credit. Okay, for most traditional loans, and that's still with some commercial business loan. They call them investment loans and different things like that. Some non-traditional loans, like you'll hear hard money loans, line of credit, things like that. Yes, they will go through your business credit, and they'll look at different things like that. It's more so how much they're going to lend you. Than anything when they're looking at that. And if they trust you to say, hey, I'm going to lend you bit money for your business because you have built this credit with your business. I would say definitely do everything. Again, CPA would be great. Make sure you have your LLCs together. Make sure you have your EINs together, your bank accounts together. You're showing money coming into your accounts. Verifiable, way of showing money coming to your account. They have to be able to trace everything, to show that. I would say, some people would say get a credit card, but that's only showing like, hey, anything that's going to build credit, like a car under your name. I don't even purchase cars under my name anymore. I do it through my business every time. I do it through my business. I don't finance cars. I will lease it before anything, because guess what? I'm putting that in my business name, and it doesn't affect what? My DTI. So we can go into a little bit more into details about things like that. But I know little ways around things, but I would say those are your first steps, honestly, to recognize what it is exactly. What am I trying to purchase? What I'm trying to accomplish? Are you purchasing a flip property, rental property? There's a lot of different things when it comes to the investment side, or like purchasing properties through a business. And it can get a little tricky. So just really recognizing what it is exactly, what program is going to suit you.
And Gina, quick question. This probably will help Ashley in her question as well. But how many, I know with when you're doing this personally, not through a business, you're going through the home buying process as a person. They go back and they look at the last 60 days. So how far back do they go and look at business bank statements and transactions for
That's a
business?
very good point. I said in the beginning that you should go back 2 years. 2 years. It depends on the lender. Sometimes they'll do a year, depending on how strong your credit is, and how much money. If you are showing that you have assets too, money talk. So if you're showing that you have a good amount of percentage of what you're asking for in your account, it may not be as much, not much going to be required as someone who doesn't, if that makes sense. So it's just how healthy your business is. That's what they're going to recognize it on that. So everybody's situation is different. Every scenario is different. There's no real true 100% answer to that, but this is just to give you kind of an idea, a guidance. Again, I will go back to that lender. And if you don't have a lender, that especially if you're trying, depending on what direction you're trying to go with Ashley or whoever thinking about it, speak to your realtor and have your realtor kind of give you an idea who to put you with, that can basically, that can support and help you, assist you with what you're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
Answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then did anybody else have any other questions, or if Tiffany or BB, did you want to piggyback on that? No.
I have a question.
Okay. Hi. I can't see what your name is. It says iPhone, but hi.
It's okay. My name is Hortense. So the concern I have earlier, when I think you asked the question about whether it was wise as a wife and husband to purchase together or not. And of course, everyone said it depends on the couple, which of course, that is really significant. But I was thinking for a moment, because I think someone said, one person can own the loan, but then you can add the second person on the deed. And I'm like, why would someone do that? Because if someone owns the loan, that means I'm in debt for this loan. But then I can add my husband or whoever on the deed. So he owns the property, but he doesn't have the risk. I'm just thinking, why would that be wise? I'm just like, why would I do that too? You know what I mean? Because I don't want to go there, but in today's market, people are like in and out of relationships, in and out of marriages. So, would you recommend that for a spouse? I mean, like you say, it's their decision, but I mean, of course, as a realtor or a broker, you can't tell someone what's best for their family. But would that be the right way to do it? You know what I'm saying?
I can
talk. I want to hold on. I want to speak to both of it. I'm definitely going to get Teresa in it, because both of us, I think it really starts with the relationship. You have to decide with whom you're with what your goals are. So if you all are, looking to obviously live together forever and ever, then that would be something that you would want to discuss, because this home is going to be a long-term investment. If you don't have that trust in your spouse, then I'm not even sure if you would want to go into this home buying process and all of that together. I mean, this is something that you have to discuss and have that communication with upfront about what your goals are with this person. First and foremost, you really have to establish that that communication and understand what you both want, and how you're going to go forward with that. And then I would say, after you do establish that and you know exactly what each of you want and how you want to move forward, I think it really depends, again, on those goals that you all set for yourselves. So for me and my husband, we both are on the mortgage. We are both on the home because we were not thinking about investment properties afterward. Our first goal was to think of a forever home. And so that's what we purchased first. For us, it worked this way because this home is big enough for us to grow in versus getting a starter home and then moving up and then, things like that. And then again, like I said, we weren't thinking of an investment property. So how we're going to move forward from here, now that we do, is a different story. But for Treese, Treese can definitely speak on it for herself, but they went about it separately. They each purchased their homes differently. And I'll let Treese explain that. But yes, I think first and foremost, it comes down to what you both want, and then going from there to decide how you're going to achieve those goals. But Treese, if you want to go ahead and speak on how
I mean, you touched on everything. I mean, it really just depends on, one, your level of risk, because what if your husband or you lose your job or something catastrophic happens, then you're both in a bind. And then what if you both get a foreclosure? Like, that's even more risk. Whereas if you have one person that may have, have had the home in their name, it goes in foreclosure, worst case, I'm saying. And then, maybe that person, now you all have to rebuild that person's credit or something like that, worst case. But then the other person, hey, you guys could go still get an apartment or something like that, because the other person hasn't completely, both of you guys haven't completely destroyed your credit. You don't want that risk, because it's both sided. Right now, I'm hearing more of a, why would I want to do that? But if you do it and you understand the benefits in the advantages and the disadvantages, and you do what's right for you, then the sky's the limit. But I think there's beauty in both sides, doing it together and separately. But again, it just depends on you and your relationship.
Now, and I agree with you, Treese. And I don't want it to be a situation. Obviously, if you're marrying that person, we don't never know. We don't want to think that way, obviously, right? I'm probably the only one here not married. But I'm going to be honest, I know enough in regards to this. Like, every state, you have to kind of know too, every state have their own like marital laws and different things like that. And you can always prep yourself to how you're going to, if anything were to happen, how you're going to separate with the home. There's a lot of preparations you can do in advance. You can speak to an attorney about, you can have set up. So these are things you can prep yourself for, things like this. And it's all going to be between husband and wife. A conversation. It's always going to have to be a conversation that you have to be very open and feel comfortable talking about, and not wait until when that happens to talk about it. And I think a lot of people, in a lot of situations I see that happen, people don't talk about it prior. Talk about it. Talk about these things, and have a real exit strategy, I guess. You have to kind of look at it that way. But again, the beauty of it, and I don't want it to be sidetracked. I don't want you to be sidetracked away from the beauty of being able to purchase separately. You're still dependent, again, certain states, or you're responsible. You share everything pretty much, your husband and wife, and it's split down the middle. There's a lot of laws in place for things like that. So again, it goes back to those conversations and having the proper things set up for if anything like that were to happen.
And to piggyback on what you just said about the state laws, about marital laws, even if your name is not on the property and you were married at the time that the property was purchased, you're still going to be responsible. In some states, you're still, as the wife, as the spouse, you're still responsible. So that's something that you have to look into as well. Just because your name is not on the mortgage and your name's not on it at the time when the property was purchased, and you guys were married, there are some states where you're still responsible. So you definitely have to find out what your laws are in your state.
Yeah, I think, I'm sorry, does that answer your question? Uh-oh. Is she still on?
No, I'm here. Yeah, thank you so much. But I think it, just like you said, it depends on the state laws. I mean, nobody goes into a relationship think it's gonna end. So, you know, you don't really even sometimes have those conversations, those real life conversations, like what if, you know, because you really don't want to even, it's negative, you know, who wants to bring that up in the beginning, you know? But I was just thinking about when you said, you know, I'm just thinking like, why would I want to have a loan and be indebted for this home, but then my husband is on the deed? What if, you know what I mean? I was just thinking like, are we going to end up like War of the Roses or some craziness like that? So I was just thinking of just different scenarios. But yeah, you know, I think like you said, it really comes down to the couple and, you know, how solid are you in your relationship with going forward? Because buying a home, that's a huge investment. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be done haphazardly. So the two parties have to be really, really serious and committed. As one, you're supposed to be in your marriage anyway. But you know, sometimes, you know, life happens. So I just was kind of like, how do you just? But I think you really touch on all the aspects of just trying to secure yourself, you know, in the situation. So yeah, thank you.
Great question. That was good. That was a good question.
Is there any other questions before we definitely wrap it up? We definitely want to be respectful of everybody's time. So is there anybody else that has any other questions that they would like to be answered? Okay, that is awesome. I definitely, we all appreciate one, the Realtors for jumping on, Gina, Tiffany, Bibi, everybody for jumping on today. I just want to kind of close it out to say, actually, your question was a very good segue. This is exactly what we created the wedding plugs for. This is exactly what we created this event series for, the Bridal Tea Party, is to really help couples start the conversation. And not even if you're not even a couple yet, or you don't have that significant other, to just start thinking about this, because a lot of people, they don't think about this when they're getting into a relationship, when they're, you know, paying for a wedding. We want people to really start thinking about long-term, their future. What goals do you have? What, not only financial, but where do you want your life to be? And how does that look for you? And how does that, is that in line with what your spouse wants? How do you, you know, really communicate with that person to be able to understand what you all both want and how you're going to get to that goal? So again, we really appreciate everybody for coming on here. We really love all of the conversation that was spoken on here. We could have went on for another 2 hours with all of the good nuggets and spilled tea that we had here today. But I just want to go ahead and share everybody's information that was on here, just in case anybody has any questions for either Gina or Tiffany or Blondine. So give me 1 second. Let me get to there.
And to the young lady just asked that question, you are completely right. No one goes into a marriage thinking about the worst case and divorce and all of the other good stuff. But you have to, in order to avoid that, you know, the number one reason for divorce is normally around money problems. And that's the whole reason why we started the wedding plugs, because we noticed that during our process of preparing for our marriage and preparing for our wedding, no one was covering that, you know, not our officiant. No one was talking about money. And then if we did, it was like 30 minutes or something like that, which isn't enough. So we just want to make sure that people are, you know, going into their marriage with the right mindset, thinking about the long term, and that they will be one less couple that beat the odds of, you know, getting divorced due to money problems. So
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So right here we have Gina's information. We have her email, her phone number, her Instagram name. So if you all want to go ahead, take a screenshot of it really quickly. And again, Gina is licensed for Florida and Georgia real estate. Move on. We have Tiffany's information. Tiffany is licensed in Florida. So if you are wanting more information or wanting to reach out to her to look into buying a home, selling your home, anything, her information is here. Her email, tiffany.francis, and her phone number and her Instagram tag as well. And then this is Miss Blondine's information. So if anybody has any questions for Miss BB, this is her email, her phone number, and her Instagram tag as well. You want to go ahead and take a quick screenshot. Okay. All right. So again, thank you all for joining us today. This was amazing. If anybody has any other questions, you can definitely contact us as well, in addition to any other realtors that were on the panel today, whether it is regarding real estate or wedding planning or anything. You can follow us on Instagram at the Wedding Plugs LLC. If you all have any emails, you want to email us, info@theweddingplugs.com. And we will be glad to see you all at the next bridal tea party. We will be sending out an email to see what your feedback was on this bridal tea party. We would love to share it with the realtors. They would love to know what you all thought, as well as ourselves. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you to our beautiful panelists. You all were amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you
It was
everyone
fun.
for your day.
for
Thank you
having
guys.
us.
Thank you.
We are the Wedding Plugs, the first wedding planning financial company to help couples plan for their dream wedding on a budget while building their financial literacy.
Our premarital courses assist our couples with doing everything from securing the perfect wedding venue to closing on their first home.
Couples who complete our classes are 85% less likely to divorce due to money problems. Start planning smarter for forever
Today!